I realized I didn't know how to unmute myself without stopping to share my screen. My name is Erin Landis. I am the River Friendly Coordinator at the Watershed Institute. This is the River Friendly webinar series, and today the webinar is on green household cleaning. So thank you so much for joining us. We're really glad to have you here. Today's webinar, we're going to hear from Amanda, the owner of Helping Hand House Cleaning, on organic and toxin-free cleaning for your household. I'm first going to give a little bit of an introduction to the River Friendly program, and then I will turn it over to Amanda. So I did want to We have been doing this River Friendly series program for webinars for the summer. And I wanted to let you all know that we are taking a break for the next few months as there's a lot of other programming going on. We will be starting back the River Friendly webinar series in probably late summer to early fall. Another thing that's going on right now in the River Friendly program is this resident challenge. So new River Friendly residents are going to be entered into a drawing that's going to happen in September. And 5 people are going to be randomly selected from a hat, essentially, for prizes, which include a voucher towards a Watershed Nature Camp, as well as tickets to events at the Watershed Institute and Raritan Headwaters. So if you're interested in joining that, there is more information on the Watershed's website. If you don't know about the River Friendly program, it is a partnership program between 3 organizations in New Jersey: the Watershed Institute, Raritan Headwaters, and New Jersey Water Supply Authority. We administer this program called River Friendly, which is essentially a recognition or a certification program for organizations and individuals who are committed to increasing their environmental stewardship of their property in order to keep water clean, safe, and healthy in central New Jersey. The map to the right shows the area, the region that we work in. And we have specific programs for different types of organizations. So we have a business program, a golf course program, schools program, as well as a residential program. And then we also have a community partner program, which is essentially for any organization that does not fall within those other 4 categories. So we have a church that's working in our community partner program, and actually Helping Hand House Cleaning is applying to our community partner program as well. So we're really excited about that. To learn more about the River Friendly program, you can go to our website, which is www.njriverfriendly.org. This is what the website looks like, and feel free to check it out. This webinar is being recorded, and it will be posted within the next day or 2 at the resources page on the River Friendly website. The resources page looks like this. So if you're interested in watching this webinar again or sending it to your friends, please visit this page, and a link will be posted here to the webinar. Just a few technical notes. If you are having difficulty hearing us or any other type of difficulty, you can click on, if you mouse down to the bottom of the WebEx page, you can click on this circle with 3 dots in it. And then there is an option for audio connection. And that is going to actually allow you to plug in your phone number, and WebEx will call you and you can listen to this webinar that way. We do request that you all keep your microphones muted throughout the webinar so that there's not very much feedback for the speaker. If you have questions, please enter them into the chat box that you can find at the bottom of your screen. After the speaker is finished presenting, we're going to ask questions as we have time available. So we expect that we'll have about 15 minutes for Q&A, and I will read your questions that are in the chat box. With that, I think that we're ready to turn it over to Amanda. So she does not have a PowerPoint today, so we're really excited just to hear her talk about organic and toxin-free cleaning. I believe that the default view for everyone is the active speaker view. And so when Amanda starts speaking, she should be on your screen. And it's also especially important for everyone to keep their microphones muted so that she is the main speaker that is on our screen today. So thank you again for everyone for coming, and I'm going to pass it over to Amanda.
Yeah, that's probably.
I can't hear. Are we good? Meeting. No, I didn't. I didn't click on anything. I'm screeching. The host has removed me from the meeting.
Are you, Amanda, you're still here?
Right.
We can't see you. Hold on. Sorry.
Picked the wrong one. You were signed in twice, so it was echoing, so I kicked one of you out.
Oh, well, now I can't find. There you guys are. Yeah, okay. Earlier, I think we accidentally exited the meeting and tried to come back in.
This is what happens when you clone yourself.
This is why I told you yesterday I'm not super tech savvy.
Okay. All
Are
right.
we good
So,
now?
everything good now? We can hear you fine now.
Okay, good. Okay. I hope they heard you screeching in the background. Anyway, hi, I'm Amanda. I'm the owner of Helping Hand House Cleaning in Hamilton, New Jersey. Super happy to be here. Super happy that the Watershed Authority invited me to do this. A little tiny bit of background on me. I used to work for a small cleaning company in this area. About 2 years ago, I went off on my own to start my own cleaning company with the intention of just starting a regular, normal cleaning company. I didn't know any better. My 5-year-old daughter, who I'm going to show off right now, her name is Elizabeth. She has severe asthma, lots of hospital trips, lots of rushes to the ER. About the same time that I started my own cleaning company, she had a particularly bad asthma attack that took us to a brand new pediatric pulmonologist who spent a lot of time with us talking to us about asthma triggers. And when the conversation of cleaning products came up, it struck a chord with me. These are things I deal with every single day. And when I told him that, he was like, oh man, you might really want to consider changing the products that you use. So that led me to doing a lot of research into the typical commercial cleaning products that we use: Windex, Mr. Clean, Clorox, all of those. And I learned a lot about the health factors that affect us, about the environmental factors that affect the earth, and it changed the entire scope of how I started to run my brand new business. So within its infancy, I kind of turned it on its head, but I'm glad I did. The point for me was to find the balance of using products that were safe for people, safe for the earth, but also safe for the surface that you're cleaning. It's important when you're cleaning something, if you want something to last, if you want longevity in your floors, your counters, your stove, that you use the right things to clean it with. Otherwise, it will start to look terrible sooner rather than later. So I used a lot of good sources: Environmental Protection Agency, the Environmental Working Group. I have questioned people at the Watershed Authority itself, the American Lung Association, all good resources for all this research. So here's Here's what I found. The main thing about commercial cleaners is the volatile organic compounds. This is the substance that's in aerosols, it's in bleach, it's in air fresheners. Don't like air fresheners, detergents, dish soap, fabric softeners. These are the things that contribute to asthma attacks, to allergies, headaches, all kinds of respiratory complications. The best way to spot and avoid these, what's called VOC, volatile organic compounds. If you look at labels and you see things listed as flammable, danger, irritant, the words artificial fragrance, these are the things you want to avoid. These are the things that are going to trigger respiratory ailments, and they run rampant in all of our commercial cleaning products. Like I said, the artificial fragrance is something I'm going to bring up a lot because it is a huge sign that what you're purchasing has terrible chemicals in it that will affect your respiratory system. If you want your house to smell good, I recommend throwing cookies in the oven or throw brownies in the oven because your house will smell fabulous and you will get something so much better out of it than having to smell a fake rose garden all day. At least you get to eat the cookies afterwards. I also want to talk about the things such as the carcinogens that are in commercial cleaners. Carcinogens linked to cancer a million different ways. Endocrine disruptors linked to infertility in a million different ways. Neurotoxins linked to headaches. These are all things found in the most common of commercial cleaners that you walk into a supermarket and buy. Cleaners that are corrosive, drain cleaners, toilet bowl cleaners. Let me tell you a quick side note story. Before I started using natural products, I had a bottle of toilet bowl cleaner. I squirted it into a toilet, noticed the bottle was leaking all down the side of the bottle. Don't know what I was thinking. I closed the toilet bowl lid, put the toilet bowl cleaner on top of the lid, and then washed the stuff off my hands before it burnt me. And it started to melt through the toilet seat lid. I had to replace that toilet seat lid for that client. And it makes you think, if it can melt through plastic quite that quickly, it's probably not good for you or for the environment that you're putting it into. So toilet bowl cleaner, not so good. Those are the majority of the health risks to humans that these cleaners pose. On the flip side, they also pose earth-related risks as well. Water treatment plants pretty good at filtering the bad stuff out of the water. Everything that you use to clean at some point ends up in a drain, which ends up in the water. Whether you're wiping a surface with a rag and then you throw that rag in the washing machine or you're rinsing it down your tub, everything goes to the water, everything you use to clean. So water treatment plants tend to do a fairly good job of filtering these things out. However, not all water treatments are created equal. Not all of our plants in this country are equal. And there is always a small amount that ends up in our waterways, always. And this has been tested all over the country and it shows this. For example, the phosphates that are in laundry detergent and dish detergents, they, and a lot of multi-purpose cleaners as well. Once minute amounts of that ends up in our waterways, this produces essentially algae blooms, overgrowth of algae. You know that algae blooms are bad. They deplete oxygen in the water, which affects aquatic life. So a lot of algae bloom problems, a contributing factor is these multi-purpose cleaners that are being washed down the drain. There's also a little side science lesson. Surfactants. Surfactants is essentially what is helping you clean. You cannot clean effectively with just water. Water has surface tension. You put water onto something, it's going to sit there. You need that surfactant in the water to break through the grime that it's on to effectively clean it. The problem is that with a toxic surfactant, like found in most commercial cleaners, it has the same effect once it reaches the waterways. So it helps other pollution in the water penetrate plants and aquatic life there, act as a surfactant there as well, and other pollution in the water affects the aquatic life. There is completely non-toxic and safe surfactants made from coconut, made from palm, made from vegetable glycerin. I have an example of one of my favorites. I don't know. These are soap nuts. If you have never seen or heard of a soap nut before, I suggest you Google them. These are fantastic things. They are actually a berry. They're not even a nut. They're actually a berry. They're a member of the Lychee family, and they have a natural soap to them that is obviously 100% natural, not man-made, and you could do everything with these things from laundry to dishes to, I use them in a ton of recipes. I highly recommend reading up on soap nuts if you are interested. So now that I've given you the boring stuff of what all this stuff does, the question is, what do we do? So I'll be honest with you, my first instinct, like everybody else, when switching to natural cleaners was to throw vinegar at everything. That is what a lot of people do. Vinegar does everything. Vinegar is the magic all-purpose cleaner. And luckily, before I did that, I did a whole lot of reading and research to discover that vinegar is not the end-all be-all of natural cleaners. Some people use it for everything and they like their house to smell like a salad bar, but in reality, vinegar is an acid. When it comes to unsealed grout, the rubber seals around your toilet and your tub, wood floors, acid and these things, they don't play well together, and acid will eventually start to eat at these things. It will start to destroy your wood floor. It will take off the coating. It will make it look cloudy. It will definitely eat your grout. So you don't want to use vinegar for these things. Vinegar has its purpose. It is great for cutting through very stubborn soap scum. It is great for cleaning glass and mirrors and extremely stubborn grime, say on a shower door. But you want to avoid surfaces like wood with vinegar for sure. Abrasion, you don't have to go buy soft scrub. Baking soda has abrasion. Cornstarch has a gentler abrasion. Salt can be used for abrasion. If you get a little bit behind in cleaning your tub, you sometimes need abrasion to get those things off. Trust me, I have kids, toilet or toothpaste that gets all over the sink, it gets left there for a week. Sometimes you're going to need something a little bit stronger and rougher to clean it off. Rubbing alcohol and peroxide, they are good disinfectants. Used properly, they are good disinfectants. I don't like to throw the word disinfectant around a lot because it's actually a process. To actually disinfect something, according to the CDC, you clean the dirt off and then you add something to sanitize it, which means you've gotten most of the germs off. Then disinfecting means you've gotten 100% of the germs off. I don't like to use the term disinfectant with clients because in reality, 3 seconds later, a surface could be not disinfected anymore. But I do want to bring up something very important here. When playing with homemade recipes, when experimenting with safe ingredients, there are some things to avoid. And I can't stress enough that vinegar and peroxide should never, ever, ever be mixed together. Vinegar and peroxide make peracetic acid. This is toxic to people. Breathing it in, getting it in your eyes, Vinegar and peroxide, do not mix them together. Another one I see a lot is vinegar and baking soda. Every time I'm in these mom groups on Facebook and someone asks for a cleaning suggestion to remove odor or to scrub something tough, people are like, make a paste with vinegar and peroxide. It's the best. I'm sorry, I mean vinegar and baking soda. Here's the thing. Science 101. Vinegar is an acid. Baking soda is a base. When you mix them together, they cancel each other out. You're cleaning with nothing special. Vinegar and baking soda have now done their impressive volcano fizz, which just means it basically turns to salt water after that. And you've now wasted two ingredients that on their own work very, very well. But once you mix them together, they cancel each other out and you've got nothing. Same thing with vinegar and Castile soap. One is an acid, one is a base. You mix them together. Not only do they cancel each other out, but it makes a disgusting, goopy, gross mess that you wouldn't want to clean with anyway. So I stress those mixes not to be mixed together. But I encourage people to experiment. Look up some recipes online, try some things out with home items. It's kind of fun, actually. You know, I clean every day, so I've gone through lots of recipes, and you know, it's like there's a million different ways to make homemade glass cleaner, from vinegar and rubbing alcohol, peroxide. Some people use soap nuts to make their homemade glass recipe, and it's just like the difference between Mr. Clean and Clorox and Lysol. You find one that you like and you swear by it and you stick with it. I warn people to watch your recipes online. If you see something that says to mix baking soda and vinegar, then that person posting that recipe has clearly not done their research or knows anything about it. If they include dish soap in their all natural recipes, it's not all natural. Dish soap's actually not a great thing. Borax, I see in a lot of natural recipes, and the research on borax, it's conflicting. But according to the Environmental Working Group and the Environmental Protection Agency, neither one of them really endorses borax as a natural ingredient or an eco-friendly ingredient. So since they don't, I avoid it in my cleaning, and I don't use borax. And then besides the cleaners themselves, you also need to consider the tools that you use as far as being eco-friendly. For example, as I started to switch all my cleaners to homemade all-natural cleaners, I realized that there is an issue with microfiber. Microfiber is everybody's go-to cloth for cleaning. They work fantastic, you know. And you're thinking, well, I'm not using paper towels, so microfiber is a totally fine option. The problem is that I've learned that microfiber is actually a petroleum-based plastic woven into a fiber, and it sheds. It sheds when you wash it. It can shed when you use it. Then these little tiny microplastics that it is shedding goes down the drain. It goes into the water treatment plant. Some of it escapes. It ends up in our waterways. So microfiber, while probably still better than just disposable paper towels, is not the end all be all, not necessarily eco-friendly. There's ways to help. Newer washing machines definitely have pretty good filters on them. There's even filters that you can install in an old washing machine to catch those microplastics. There's also something called Guppy Bags, which I believe are available on Amazon. A Guppy Bag is a bag that you would put your microfiber in to put it through the washing machine, and that bag catches those microplastics as opposed to it flowing out. So there are ways to use microfiber and still be safe about it. But you can also cut up an old t-shirt or sheets, and you know, anything recycled is always good to use. So moving on to another tool, and this is a big one, and this is the one I'm most, it makes my brain pop. Magic erasers. I have to talk about magic erasers because so many people see a magic eraser as a non-toxic cleaning item because it doesn't necessarily have toxic ingredients added to it. It's melamine foam. It's made out of something called melamine foam, which is a hard plastic, and it basically equals a very, very fine sandpaper. The magic to the magic eraser is that it's taking off a very, slim part of your surface. That's what's removing the stain, is you're basically sanding it off. So there's no magic to it. Using a magic eraser over time will definitely affect the surface that you are cleaning. It is also, again, made of plastic. So it is the same as using a plastic bag at the grocery store instead of a reusable bag. Anybody that's cleaned the tub with a magic eraser knows that it gets smaller as you use it. It breaks apart. And then what do? You rinse that tub, and all those teeny tiny pieces of plastic are going down the drain, going through the water treatment plants and ending up in waterways. Magic erasers, they have their place for the absolute toughest of jobs where you can't accomplish it any other way. Yeah, maybe then you need to bust out a magic eraser. But for everyday cleaning, for your regular maintenance cleaning, I strongly say to avoid them. Not only are they going to eventually wear out your surface that you're cleaning and make it look dull and terrible, but all those plastics are going down the drain every time you use it, when you probably could have accomplished the same thing with a spray bottle and an old t-shirt. So don't use magic erasers. Even Swiffers. Swiffers don't have a toxic ingredient added, but same thing. You throw them away. Once they get really filthy and gross, you throw them in the garbage. You can, trust me, you stick a sock over your hand and do the puppet thing to dust with. It's so much more fun than using a Swiffer duster, and you don't have to throw it away. The Clorox and Lysol wipe tubs, spray and wipe with an old t-shirt. Not only are you throwing away every single one of those wipes, but you are also throwing away the plastic tub as well. And a lot of these things are not biodegradable. Magic erasers, 1000% not biodegradable. They're human made, not recyclable, and not biodegradable. Swiffer dusters still seems to be a little conflict about it, but they could possibly not be biodegradable either. Spray and wipe old t-shirts and socks. The best thing you could do is avoid these disposable things. Like, it's like a plastic shopping bag. You want to avoid that. But if you are not a do-it-yourself kind of person, if you are not an experiment with, vinegar and soap nuts kind of person, and you still just want to go to the store and buy your cleaning products, that's understandable. However, this is where you have to be aware of greenwashing. Greenwashing is basically a misleading claim. It's misleading marketing for people to believe that a company or product is a lot more eco-friendly than it actually is. This is a huge problem in the cleaning industry, and I will tell you why. Commercial cleaning companies do not have to disclose their ingredients on their labels. It's not against the law. They can market as eco-friendly. They can market as all natural. They do not have to disclose ingredients. There is nothing regulating them to do so. So greenwashing is a huge, huge problem in the cleaning industry. The cleaning company that I worked for before I started with myself, they offered eco-friendly cleanings to all their clients. If their client checked that little box to say, yes, I want an eco-friendly cleaning, then we, as the cleaners, were instructed to use Method products. Method markets as all natural, Method markets as eco-friendly. So she was like, why would they lie? They're an all natural company. Use Method products because they want an eco-friendly cleaning. There was already red flags going off on my radar as far as Method products go, because for the most part, when you go to the store to purchase them, they're ready to go. You pick up the spray bottle, you spray, you use, done. The fact that it wasn't concentrated and that it took so much excess packaging kind of already signaled to me that this may not be as eco-friendly as I thought. So I did include companies that market as eco-friendly in my research method, Mrs. Myers, Molecular, Norwex, and I searched them through the Environmental Protection Agency and the Environmental Working Group and found out they're not. The Environmental Working Group gives them fairly bad grades, anything from C to F, because they are not as human friendly or as earth friendly, excuse me, as they lead you to believe. So that was not an option for me in switching my company to eco-friendly. Now, the best ways, full circle, just like from the beginning of this, the best way to spot a greenwashed product is to look for that word fragrance on the label. And I discussed this at length with many people, including my daughter's doctor. The word fragrance on a label is a huge red flag. Fragrance it's those volatile organic compounds. They are synthetic aromas. They are engineered, and they could use dozens and dozens and dozens of chemicals that are terrible for people and the earth in order to get a smell of an apple orchard or a grapefruit or basil field. And you know, the fragrance thing is probably the number one thing to look at on a label to see if it's a natural product or not. If it hasn't listed, and especially since, like I said, they can have so many different chemicals added to them and they don't have to disclose what they are. And going back to that disclosure of ingredients, I hope I'm not talking too fast. I'm getting very excited. Greenwashing being a huge problem because of the non-disclosure of ingredients. This is something that the state of California has started to tackle, which is very exciting. And laws are being passed now forcing commercial cleaning companies to disclose their ingredients because it's important for us as consumers. We have people with certain allergies, with different triggers for asthma, with different neurological issues where things can trigger massive, massive headaches. And without knowing exactly what's in these products and being able to make informed choices when we purchase them, that's not sitting okay with me. So California is kind of leading that charge, which is exciting. New York is also on the brink of this and working on this and have things in motion. I'm hoping New Jersey will be the next one to follow. This has become a bit of a pet project of mine, and I'm stepping toes into the political arena trying to get these balls rolling because the environmental aspect of these laws and the health aspect is extremely, extremely important to me as a parent with a kid with respiratory issues. So keep that in mind, that they don't have to disclose their ingredients. The word fragrance should always be a red flag, and stay tuned because I'm hoping to get that change in New Jersey, and then I hope it spreads everywhere. Again, as consumers, we should definitely have the right to know what's in the things we use, to know what's in the things we're spraying in our homes, to know what we're breathing in. So it can be hard to crack those codes on labels. But again, the word irritant, flammable, and fragrance are really, really good ways to spot greenwashing and to spot dangerous items. But there are some products out there that are good. You know, you just need to use your resources. The Environmental Protection Agency has something called a safer choice list. If you buy products off of that list, then yes, while they're still commercial cleaning products, you can be sure they are the least dangerous to the environment and to yourself. And also, I encourage the use of the app, the Environmental Working Group. They have tons and tons of products listed, and not only will they tell you how they rate as far as breathing them in, as far as using them, but they also tell you about their environmental concerns. It's not 100%, it's basically independent scientists trying to reverse engineer these things because they don't know all the ingredients, but it's a lot better than just going to the dollar store and picking up whatever because you need to clean up the house. There are ways to make sure you're buying better products if you don't feel like mixing them yourself. But I want to stress that if you do decide to mix things at home with baking soda, with vinegar, whatever you decide to use and experiment with, you need to remember that it is not as easy. Cleaning with something like vinegar or baking soda, it is going to take a little bit more effort than spraying it with something that's going to just melt through all the soap scum. It's going to take a little more muscle, a little more power, and things might not look super shiny and sparkly when you're done, but it will be clean and it will be safe for you to use. It will be safe for your kids to use. Personally, I would, if I left a little bit of residue of baking soda in my tub, I would still rather put my 5-year-old into that tub than one where a little bit of residue of Mr. Clean might be there for her to take a bath in. So, and it is possible. It is possible. Like oven cleaner. When it comes to volatile organic compounds, oven cleaner is a huge one. Talk about corrosive and talk about oven cleaner is bad. Breathing in oven cleaner is absolutely terrible for you. You can clean an oven with a mixture of baking soda, with a mixture of vinegar. There's various ways. Now, Easy Off will melt through everything in that oven, like literally melt through it, and it will come out shiny and sparkly without a speck on it. But your oven doesn't need to be shiny and sparkly without a speck on it. It's an oven. So consider using the more natural approach and leaving a few little specks in your oven, because then you can still cook in it without the fear of any residual poison. I have just a few photos because I do, and I hope, like these are some before and afters. Like this is an oven. This was not done with Easy Off. This was done in my method, and it may not be perfect, but it's perfectly clean and absolutely safe to use. I'm sorry, I just realized it started to storm or our windows are open. It's fantastic. Wow. Wow. Okay. Things like this. Hopefully you can see this. Again, not one single bit of toilet bowl cleaner, not one single bit. And yes, these took a little more effort. But it is possible. It is completely possible to do a good job cleaning your shower. If it gets like this, hey, it's going to take a little more work. It didn't get like that in a day, and you're not going to fix it in 5 minutes. But it's totally possible to get these things clean without the use of absolutely harsh things that are going to damage your lungs, damage your kids' lungs, damage our waterways, et cetera, et cetera. Erin, I think I got out everything that I had wanted to say. If you want to do questions now. Is Erin there?
Yes. Sorry, I was just unmuting myself. Thank you, Amanda. That was awesome. I learned a lot, actually, just from listening to you. So we have a few questions, and I have some questions too, but I have one. How do I use a guppy bag? Or you mentioned using a shirt. I don't know what
The guppy bag is for washing the microfiber. If you're using microfiber, then if you put the microfiber into a guppy bag, close it off and throw the whole guppy bag in the washing machine, it catches a great deal of those microplastics that normally shed off and end up running into the waterways. It's a good alternative. I already had a ton of microfiber when I learned this. It didn't seem to make sense to throw it all away. That didn't seem like the eco-friendly answer either. So I did find Guppy bags, which they're rated great. And sure enough, when you wash, there is a lot of that gunkiness inside the Guppy bag. So it's definitely better than doing nothing, is by washing in the Guppy bag. I just meant the t-shirt. If you're not using microfiber and you need a rag, then tear up an old t-shirt, because then it's recycled. So anything recycled is always good, in my opinion. If you get a double use out of anything, it's better than a single use.
Would you recommend, just as a follow-up for me, would you recommend using microfiber cloths or no?
Not anymore. Not if you can help it. I wouldn't like now. I wouldn't go buy new ones. I said I'm only using the ones I'd already had, because doing what I do, I have like 150 microfibers, and to throw them in the garbage didn't make sense. But I don't recommend to people now to purchase them new, knowing how badly they shed and how badly they are produced, how badly they shed into the water. So I don't recommend buying new ones. My recommendation now is you're better off tearing up some old shirts.
So someone asked about natural fragrances like lavender. I'm not sure if that's on products that are marketed as natural fragrances, maybe, or maybe adding your own.
I'm absolutely sure there's plenty of products marketed as natural lavender that aren't. Again, you can scent something with an essential oil. An essential oil is always going to be the better option over a chemically engineered fragrance. That's no matter what that fragrance is, whether it's lavender or something else. If it says fragrance and it's artificially engineered, it's bad. If it's a little bit of essential oil, that's better. Now, for an asthmatic like my daughter, scent, no matter what it is, can still trigger an attack. I know her doctor warned me of strong scents of citrus, especially with asthmatics, lemon, orange. Even if it's a natural scent, for an asthmatic, a strong scent, period, could trigger an attack. So I tell people to still be wary of that. Yes, essential oils are better than an artificial fragrance, but as far as respiratory goes, you still need to be careful with strong scents. I'm still careful with strong scents because to an asthmatic, it can still trigger an attack.
So we do have a few questions about if you're willing to share any tried and true recipes or proportions for different cleaners.
Well, like I said, it's I encourage people to experiment on their own, because it's just like you have people that walk into the supermarket and immediately go for Windex. Some will immediately go for Glass Plus. Some will immediately go for another brand of glass cleaner. Everybody has their thing that they swear by. I mean, I could share, a bunch of different recipes, but it's really, really personal choice. I've gone through lots of mixes to find what I like to use. Now, again, I clean a whole lot more than most people. I'm out there in, 1 to 3 houses per day. So it didn't take me long to find the proportions that I like that work the best for me. But I have other natural cleaner friends who use completely different proportions than I do, or totally different items. I like a lot of rubbing alcohol in my glass cleaner. That's how I roll. I know another girl that completely uses soap nuts to make her glass cleaner, and she swears by it. But you figure, you play with the proportions, look up some recipes, find something that you like, and no matter what you decide on, it's going to be better than Windex by 1,000%. So, yeah, I don't necessarily have any specific recipes to share. I just encourage people to be careful with the ingredients they use. Don't mix the things you're not supposed to mix, and find what you like, as opposed to going out and buying that bottle of Windex, which I could tell you again, as an asthmatic mom, Windex is terrible for asthma.
All right, thank you for that. Somebody asked about how to address rust stains in a sink.
If it doesn't, rust stains in a sink, it really, really depends on your kind of water. There are different things you can use, and depending on the water that you have is what will work. I have cleaned houses where I've been able to get rust stains out with cream of tartar. Just kind of make a paste with cream of tartar and water does take out some rust stains. It doesn't work on every single one, but I've had pretty good success with making a paste of cream of tartar and water, putting it on the rust stain, let it sit, a little bit, and then scrub at it. And I've had some pretty good success with that. I do obviously try to avoid, CLR and lime away and things like that, because they all have the same problems. But I tell people that I've had pretty good success with cream of tartar and water as a paste for rust stains. Anything with some abrasion, but cream of tartar for some reason seems to pull at rust stains a little bit more.
Someone else asked about lime away and recommended mixtures for cleaning tubs with hard water. So I think you kind of addressed that, but if you have anything to add.
Not really. For the most part, anything with some abrasion to it will help clean the hard water stains out of a tub. And if you feel like you need a commercial product, again, check the safer choice list, because it might very well have a specific hard water product on there that is the safest out of all of them. So if your stains are that tough, that's what I recommend, is to check that list and find a commercial product that is the lesser evil, I guess, so to speak, because again, it's usually not for everyday cleaning. You usually only need that stuff once in a blue moon. So as long as you're buying the safer choice of it, then it should be okay. You're not destroying the world that way.
Awesome. Someone asked, you mentioned using old t-shirts as rags. Is that your primary use? And what's your go-to rag? I guess your preferred rag method.
My preferred rag method now, yes, is cut up old t-shirts, especially some of my daughter's old baby clothes are soft and and usually don't have things that will catch or scratch. Like I said, I do still use microfiber because I already had so much of it before learning this. As they start to wear out and I do have to get rid of them, I do not replace them. So over the course of the next however long it will take for me to destroy my microfiber, I am making that switch into recycled items such as thrift stores are great for that. You could buy 18 t-shirts for like 75 cents. You can't beat that. And they might not be as absorbent as a microfiber, and they might be a little bit, they might leave streaks a little bit more. But again, you're not killing the sharks by using it. So if it leaves a little bit of a streak, who cares? I could still feel better about using that as opposed to knowing that I'm shedding microplastics into the waters,
Yes, I love that. So river friendly. So from Grace Ann, what is your take on Dawn? Is it good or bad?
Dawn is bad. The Environmental Working Group rates Dawn as an F. It really does seem like a magical substance, and they are just as guilty a little bit of the greenwashing effect. They have their commercials where they're washing off the baby ducks of all these oil, and look at what Dawn does. We've saved the wildlife, but that doesn't necessarily make it an eco-friendly product. It means that it cuts through oil to get it off these birds. But the Environmental Working Group does rate it as an F as far as the phosphates that end up in our waterways. Dawn's a huge contributor. So no, Dawn is not an eco-friendly product. And that's when I see natural recipes that include things like Dawn, it's not a natural recipe. A lot of cleaners that say they're natural cleaners use a mix of vinegar, Dawn, and water. And while this, it is a magical solution and it does cut through sustained things, it should not be a go-to or an everyday thing, because Dawn, not good for the waterways.
Yeah, I didn't even know that. I think that Dawn has a reputation for being environmental.
I think they do. It's because they claim they save the baby birds, and it's great for those birds, bad for the fish.
Yes, absolutely. Okay, so someone followed up, what's the best dishwashing detergent instead of Dawn, I presume?
These that I showed you earlier, you can make dish soap out of these. What you need to know is that these, being all natural, they do not foam up. They're not going to give you that satisfying foam as you're washing dishes. But trust me, they make a good dishwashing liquid. It's what I use. You can also make dishwashing liquid out of Castile soap, which also is perfectly safe. The Environmental Working Group rates it as an A. Dr. Bronner's also makes a product called Salicides, which is rated an A as well on the Environmental Working Group. And that stuff can be used to make laundry detergents and dish detergents. And that stuff is rated an A. It is biodegradable. I've used it on tougher things, but that is also a product that I know is rated well with the environmental group. And it does do laundry, and it does wash dishes as well.
Thank you. So we did have a few specific requests for the recipe for cleaning the toilet that you showed us the pictures. I know it's all right if you don't want to share, but.
That toilet, that was actually almost a year ago. That toilet was part of a house that I will never forget for the rest of my life. It was quite a day. And it was actually when I was just kind of starting to mess with recipes. So that one was actually done, the inside of it. I ended up having to, splash around the bowl in wet. And then I really just dumped baking soda in there. And I used the baking soda on the toilet wand to really get the abrasion into that toilet. So I've messed with different toilet bowl recipes depending on how terrible the toilet is. But yeah, if I can get that one done with just baking soda, then it's totally possible. I mean, luckily for me, I said I didn't have to mess with rust rings or anything in this one. But I will give you all the hint that when you have the rings in your toilet bowl and you're buying harsher and harsher toilet bowl cleaner to try to get those rings out, go to the laundry section in your supermarket, which is where they usually keep them for some reason, a pumice stone. A pumice stone will take that ring out without buying super harsh, corrosive toilet bowl cleaners that probably are not going to get that ring anyway. Pumice stone, definitely the way to go. Shouldn't probably give away all my trade secrets, but but I'm telling you, the pumice stone is better than any harsh toilet bowl cleaner that you will ever find.
Awesome. So someone asked about bleach alternatives, especially when we're thinking about COVID-19, and if there's anything strong enough to deal with viruses like that.
So, and I know we discussed this last week. From my perspective, because I am a general house cleaner, when it comes to active viruses, the only thing I can tell you is that peroxide and a rubbing alcohol of at least 70%, when used properly, should kill this virus in particular. Now, this is a precautionary thing. If you are just cleaning your house and you're cleaning high-touch surfaces to make yourself feel safe, then yes, peroxide and rubbing alcohol will do it. But again, it's about cleaning the surface, and then it's about spraying it with this rubbing alcohol. It has to have a hang time of at least 10 minutes to kill the things that are. You have to disinfect it properly. However, once a virus is known to be active in a place, I am not the person that would be called. It is now technically a biohazard clean, same as a crime scene cleaner. Crime scene cleaners are the ones that deal with biohazard scenes. They know how to properly decontaminate it. They know the proper stuff to use. If a virus is known to be active in a certain place, please beware of general house cleaners that are trying to make a buck saying they will decontaminate it or anything else. You really do need proper training to disinfect a scene that has been known to be active with blood, with viruses, with whatever, any kind of pathogen. So yes, you know, if you're just trying to clean your own house after you go to the food store just for your own protection and you're cleaning high touch surfaces, rubbing alcohol and peroxide is fine. When a virus is known to be active, it should be a biohazard cleaner that's called in and not a general residential house cleaner.
Thank you for that. Yeah, that's very helpful. So I don't see any more questions in the chat box. I actually have 2 questions. And if anyone else has any questions, throw them in the chat box so we can get them in before this is over. So I am wondering, are there any products, like conventional products, that you found like no replacement for, that are just, you know, like toxic products that you haven't been able to replicate or have found irreplaceable maybe?
Not anymore, not anymore. Once I started, I got overwhelmed at first. Like I said, I wanted to throw vinegar at everything. But I calmed down and I took everything one product at a time, and I kept playing with recipes and playing with proportion until I had something that I was completely happy with, and that was now my go-to for my business. And then I moved on to the next one. And as I've gone through, I'm honestly not missing anything anymore. You know, I did continue to use Easy Off for a little while because I was nervous to try something else in an oven. You know, how else do you clean an oven? But as I went through and I went one product at a time, there is nothing I am missing anymore. There is nothing that I wish I could still use but just can't. There's really nothing. I'm totally cool. Like I said, moving one product, and I've done everything from laundry detergent now to to glass cleaner, and I don't miss anything.
That's great. That's wonderful to hear. Someone did ask again the name of the berries that you showed in the jar, and I don't know if you want to show them again. I think it was easier to see when you pulled one out to look at.
Yes.
Yeah, and also, where do you get that?
I get mine off of Amazon. They're actually a lot easier to find than you think, and they are called soap nuts or soap berries. I get mine off of Amazon, but again, there's something to play with. They say, you know, they come with a little bag most of the time, and they say you could just throw a bunch into the little bag, throw them in your washing machine, and they act as laundry soap. Problem is they only act like that if you're washing in hot water, which, as any eco-friendly person knows, you don't wash in hot water. So you do have to play with it. You do have to, you can boil them, and the amount of time and the amount in there, you know, you just play with that. You could boil them and then use that liquid as your laundry soap. But they are natural. The liquid that you get from these things, it will go bad. So I boil them up and I put them in ice cube trays and I freeze them. And then when I do laundry, I'll take a couple cubes and I throw the cubes, because even in cold water, an ice cube's gonna melt. So I take a couple cubes and I throw it in the laundry when I do laundry. So there's a million ways to play with those things. And I'm actually still playing with them. Yeah, I use them for a lot of things, and I'm still finding more uses with them. I'm starting to wash my hair sometimes with them. So, you know, I can't get into the whole, you know, how soap and shampoo and everything is bad for waterways, because that's not my area of expertise. But I'm guessing that if, cleaners are bad, then probably a lot of beauty products aren't great either. So a lot of the things I'm using to clean with, I'm sometimes using on myself as well. It's been fun.
That's awesome. It sounds like, yeah, it's a learning process for everyone.
And I find it fun. So
Yeah, for sure. A question from Carol. I'm not sure if I understand this question. She said, would you give the name for dishwashing soap suggestions again after Soap Nuts Castile soap? I'm not sure if she's looking for.
right, I had said there was recipes where you could use the soap nuts, you can use Castile soap, and the other one is called Dr. Bronner's Sal Suds. And Dr. Bronner's, also makes Castile soap too, but the Sal Suds is more of a detergent as opposed to a soap that is still biodegradable, still rates very highly with the environmental groups. So yeah, it's called Dr. Bronner's Sal Suds. Definitely check into that one. I'm a fan.
So, and I think that we can send that out in, there's going to be a follow-up email to everyone who registered and attended. So I think that maybe we can email that out because it looks like there's a few questions about that specific product.
Oh yeah, absolutely.
Perfect. And I have one last question, and then, yeah, if anyone has any more questions, please throw them in the chat box. I'm wondering for people that don't clean as much as you, or maybe as much as we should, and maybe don't go through these like cleaning products really quickly, do some of them have like a shorter shelf life than the conventional products do, or like, is there any like preservative you might need to add, or things that have to be mixed up shortly before you use them?
I tell people that I'm not super familiar with the shelf life.
Is everyone still there? I can't hear Amanda anymore. Can you all hear me, Kyle?
I'm here, but I'm in and out. I don't know if we lost Amanda.
I think we lost Amanda, everyone. That was the last question though. Yeah. So I think we may have lost Amanda. It seems like this storm is really coming through and affecting everyone. Yeah. So that was most of the webinar. I'm sorry that it's wrapping up this way, unfortunately, but I think we got all of the questions essentially answered. You're welcome to email me or Kyle. We'll be sending you all a follow-up email just with some resources. And if you had any more questions for us or Amanda, you're welcome to send them in to us. So thanks everyone, and I think that's all. Is there anything else, Kyle?
No, that's it. Thank you again so much. And Amanda, if you are still there, that was amazing. So thank you so much.
Yep. Thanks everyone. Have a great day.